Are you having some friends over for the weekend and you want to impress them with some amazing sliders on the grill? Well, coming up on today's show, I'll be sharing with you my 3 favorite ways to make and serve cheeseburger sliders. Plus, we just hit a huge milestone on our channel, and I'll be giving you the details at the end of the video today on our first ever giveaway. Welcome back to Grillin' and Chillin' with Coleman, and unless the real Coleman is following the Grateful Dead around the country selling sushi, I'm Coleman. Now for the last few weeks, we've been focusing on making some outstanding game day food. First, we made our crispy buffalo chicken wings with our homemade blue cheese dressing and buffalo sauce. If you missed that video, I'll put a link right up here and in the description down below, but man, were those things amazing. Now last week, we smoked and grilled up some bacon-wrapped Texas Twinkies stuffed with chorizo and pulled pork. I'll put a link up here and down below in the description. Today is part 3 in our game day series, and we're going to be making up some cheeseburger sliders in the GNC kitchen. But not just any sliders. I'll be sharing with you my 3 favorite ways to make and top them. Let's get started. I'm sure all of you know what sliders are. You wouldn't be watching this video. But for those of you who don't, sliders are mini cheeseburgers, little bite-sized morsels of goodness that are packed full of flavor. Now the foundation for most of the sliders that I make here in the GNC kitchen is ground chuck, and I prefer the 80-20 for this. That means it's 80% meat and 20% fat, and as we all know, fat is flavor. But that's where the similarities in these 3 sliders we're making today ends. I'm only grilling up 6 sliders today, so I'm going to use about 9 ounces of that ground chuck. Each slider needs about 1.5 ounces of meat, so of course the more sliders that you make, the more meat you're going to need. To the 9 ounces of chuck, I also like to mix in 2 tablespoons of the Meat Church Holy Cow Rub. Now this little bottle of goodness contains salt, pepper, garlic, and a few other spices. I also like to mix in about 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic and also 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Then I mix it all up, but don't go crazy when you mix it. You want there to be air gaps still left in the meat because that's where the flavor hangs out, so mix it real gently. I do like to separate the pieces a little bit to make sure that garlic and Worcestershire sauce gets mixed into all the parts. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide it up into 3 parts. Each part will get about 3 ounces of meat. If you got a scale, you can weigh that out to make sure they're about even. And let's just eyeball this a little bit. Okay, now for the buns. The buns that I love to use, and I've been eating these since I was a little kid, and I've always enjoyed the flavor of them, are the King's Hawaiian rolls. Now, if you've never had these rolls, you need to go pick some up. The flavor on these things is just amazing. Let's get these things opened up. Let's go ahead and break them in half. We're only going to need about 6 of them today. So we're going to take this whole batch and we're going to cut it right in half. Kind of start on all 4 corners. We're going to slice this puppy right down the middle. That way we've got a bottom and we've got a top. Actually easier to cut that way than doing it individually. Let's break those apart. Now we are going to be toasting these a little bit later, and I'm also going to show you another little trick that I like to do with them. For the first slider, we're going to keep it basic with the meat, but I'm also going to mix in a pinch of our grated sharp cheddar cheese. Now when we serve these up, we're going to be topping it with something a little special, but you'll have to wait and see what that'll be. Now divide them in half and roll them into balls about the same size as a golf ball and set them aside. For slider number 2, we're going to be using the same mixture of ground chuck, but this time we're going to be adding a little bit of bacon that I fried up earlier. I usually use 1 slice per slider. I fried it up and cut it into bits so we could add it right into the mix. It wasn't quite crispy yet, but it was a little more cooked than not. And just like the last mix, divide it in half and roll it into balls about the same size and set it aside. These sliders are also going to get some special toppings at the end. Now the last one is my favorite. Into the mix I add 1 tablespoon of buffalo sauce and some blue cheese crumbles. Now if you need a good recipe for buffalo sauce, check out the buffalo wing video in the description. Otherwise you can just use bottled sauce. Mix it all up, cut it in half and form it into the same size balls. Now the recipe for all 3 of these sliders is below in the description. Now that we have our meat mixed and formed into balls, they go back in the refrigerator to stay cool while we get the grill ready. I'm going to be using my Kamado Joe today with a half moon griddle, but first we need to get the grill up to about 400 degrees. I removed the 2 heat deflector plates and opened up the top and bottom vents all the way. Lump charcoal is my favorite and I love using my flamethrower to light it up. Whatever you do, don't use lighter fluid in your grill. That stuff will always leave a nasty taste in your food, plus a torch is much cheaper. There is no need to add smoke wood to the fire. These sliders won't be on the grill that long. Once the charcoal is lit, the griddle needs to go on in the high position and let it heat up. Make sure the flat side is up and not the side with the ridges. We're also going to need a little melted butter, so I'm going to go ahead and let this heat up. Now let's go get our sliders out of the fridge. It's important to keep your meat nice and cold until it's ready to go on the grill. They'll hold together much better when they're cold. Now one of the secrets to grilling great sliders is to smash them. Now I do this with a metal spatula and something to push them down with. Make sure your spatula is very sturdy. Those plastic ones just won't work. Once the griddle is nice and hot, you want to place the meat on the griddle one at a time and smash it down. The goal is to get them thin and wind up with a nice crust on both sides. To help with that, I'm only going to be flipping each patty once. Place it on the grill and smash it down. I love this part. Now that they're all on and smashed, let's go ahead and check the first one. It's developed a nice crust, so let's go ahead and flip it. Now it's important not to leave the crust on the griddle when you flip it. So press that spatula down on the griddle and scrape it clean under the patty. Now flip it over and let the other side sizzle for a few minutes. Now some of these might take a little longer than others, but it really depends on your grill. Your grill could have hot spots that cause some to cook faster than the others. It's really easy to overcook these things and they don't take long. Now that we have them flipped, let's add the cheese. To the first 2, I'm going to top them with a trimmed down slice of sharp cheddar. To the second 2 with bacon, we're going to add a slice of Swiss cheese. We'll leave the third set alone for now because we added the blue cheese inside. Close the lid for about a minute and let that cheese melt. The cheese has started to melt, so it's time to pull them off and toast our buns a little. We aren't going to toast them much, just enough to give them a little flavor. Then spread a little melted butter on the tops and sprinkle a few sesame seeds for a little pizzazz. Oh yeah, they look nice. Time to get them off the heat and put these sliders together. For the first set of sliders, let's add a little Thousand Island dressing to the bun. Here's a little bit of useless trivia you can use to impress your friends. The secret sauce that Burger King uses on their Whoppers is Thousand Island dressing. It really helps give the Whopper that distinctive flavor. By the way, we just hit 200 subscribers on the channel, and I've got a special gift for every one of you, just to let you know how much I appreciate you. I'll let you know the details on how to get that freebie at the end of the video. You won't want to miss it. Now let's get back to those sliders. That's weird. I got hungry for a Whopper all of a sudden. Whatever. Now, next let's add a few slices of dill pickle. Personally, I like to put them on the bottom of the buns only. Now let's grab one of those patties that we added just the cheddar cheese to, and let's slide it over right on top. Man, those look good. That cheddar cheese is melted just perfectly. Now for that something special I told you we were gonna top it off with. And that's a spoonful of New Mexico roasted green chili. This stuff is amazing, and if you've never had it, you can pick it up in the ethnic food section in the grocery store. Now I'm gonna put a link below to some you can pick up on Amazon. Now we don't use the canned stuff here in the GNC kitchen. We bring it in fresh from New Mexico and roast it right here on the grill. Just a spoonful is all you need. Then we're gonna top it off with a little sprig of baby spinach. And I prefer spinach on my sliders and on my burgers. I just think it has so much better flavor than the iceberg lettuce. Now, if you like onions and tomatoes, now would be the time to add those, but make sure you just slice them really thin. I personally don't like them on my sliders or my burgers. I feel they overpower the taste of everything else. But the last thing we're gonna add is the top of our bun. Now, doesn't that look just gorgeous? Now, I call this the 505 slider. If you know why I call it the 505 slider, leave it in the comments below. Okay, now for the second slider. Let's take our bun and add a little mayo to each side. Man, the crust is just perfect on these. Now let's add one of those patties that we added the bacon. The bacon and the Swiss cheese. Let's add that right to the top. Man, those are super juicy. And for this one, we're gonna top it with a little bit of sliced avocado. And who doesn't like avocado? Put a couple pieces on each one. And sprinkle on a little bit of our salt, pepper, garlic seasoning. That just kicks up the flavor just a little bit. There you go. Let's go ahead and top it off with the top bun. Now I got a good name for this one. We're gonna call this the Holy Moly Slider. You see what I did there? Swiss cheese has holes in it. Guacamole, holy moly, never mind. And for the grand finale on our last bun, we're gonna add a little bit of that buffalo sauce that we made. Just as a reminder, if you'd like to make some of this, check out my crispy chicken wing video. I have the instructions there how to make this stuff. Now let's add on the patties that we added in the buffalo sauce. Put that right there on top. And we're gonna top this one with a few pickled jalapeños. Man, I love pickled jalapeños. They just add a nice little kick. Perfect. Man, I can't wait to eat that one. This one's actually my favorite. Let's top it off with the bun. Now I call this one the Grillin and Chillin slider. Tell me those aren't beautiful sliders. All three have a slightly different twist. Choose the one that works for you or make all three of them for your next game day get together. Now let's eat these things. If you've watched my other videos, you know this is usually where we recap what we did, but to heck with that. Let's go ahead and eat some sliders. I'm gonna start off with the 505 slider. This is the one that we added the sharp cheddar cheese to and that roasted New Mexico green chili. Wow. You know, the green chili and the pickles really complement each other. And that Thousand Island dressing just gives it a nice little kicker. Wow, that's got a great flavor. All right, next, let's try the Holy Moly. And this is the one where we had the bacon on the inside, topped it with some Swiss cheese, put a little avocado on top. Let's bite into this one and see how it tastes. Wow. Yeah. I really taste the crispy bacon on the inside. That avocado and the salt, pepper, garlic that I put on top really adds a nice touch. All right, let's move on to the GNC slider. And this is my favorite one. This is the one where we added the buffalo sauce on the inside. We got some blue cheese crumbles mixed in with that meat and topped it off with some pickled jalapeños. This is the one I've been looking forward to. Wow. Wow, that buffalo sauce gives it a nice kick. Mix it in there with those jalapeños. If you're gonna try one, this is the one I would try. This is definitely my favorite. I mentioned earlier that we just hit 200 subscribers on our channel, and I've got a special gift for everybody. I recently ordered a batch of the Grillin and Chillin stickers, and I want everybody to have one. All you need to do is go to my new website. There's a link in the description below. Click on the Contact Us page and let me know where to send it. I'll even pay the shipping, but sorry, this is only for the US folks. No strings attached. I'll mail one out to everybody who requests one. And I know this might be stupid of me, but I'm not going to put an end date on this. So you watching in 2038, yeah, I'll send you one too. Now, if you wanted to post a picture on your Facebook page of where you put your sticker, tag me in it. I'd love to see where you put it, but I might be asking for some trouble. Thank you again for joining me in the GNC kitchen. And if you like this video, here's a few more that you might like. And please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring the bell. It'll let you know when I've got some new videos coming out. And leave me a comment below. I'd love to know which one of the sliders today was your favorite. Now, unless my honey got to those sliders, I've got some to eat. Now, y'all go grill something.